If you've been struggling to balance your budget, you may feel it is impossible to save any money. With National Savings Month just around the corner, we'll take you through ways in which you can get control of your finances and start saving. But joining us to help us share those tips is Nitesh Patel, Head of Customer Financial Solutions at Standard Bank, and Michael Griffin, Chief Executive of ADDaBIT. Michael, let me start with you. And of course, Yana is still with us here. I haven't forgotten about you. Nitesh, let me start with you. You have written that when it comes to saving, it's a mindset. So how do we start changing those mindsets?
I think the simple answer to that is to just do it. Like Nike says, just do it. We make too many excuses for not saving. We try to find excuses that we have no money at the end of the month, or we don't have enough knowledge of products, etc. We must just start saving for simple goals such as the annual holiday or your child's education. So what people do is we've become accustomed to instant gratification and trying to keep up with the Joneses. So we buy now, pay later. And as soon as we start saving for small goals, you quickly create a habit that you'd rather save for a goal than taking out credit for that goal.
Michael, easier said than done. What's the stat that I saw that 80% of people spend about 80% of their salaries in the first week. So it's a mindset, we need to change it, but spend less, save more. It's easy to say it, but how do you really put it into practice?
Well, I think you've got to look at your needs and your wants, and you need to be very careful as to how you allocate your funds, depending on which category whatever you want falls into. So if you have needs that are now and also kind of into the future, because sometimes a university or a education is also a need and it's in 5 or 10 years' time, I think that's where you need to use an ADDaBIT fund and get people to contribute towards, so that you one day can live that dream and do it slowly over time. As we've said, it's not an immediate thing, and it takes time and diligence to continue to contribute to these funds.
No, I think, for me, one of the questions is, you get advice saying, first pay off all your debt and then start saving. And I wonder, is that really realistic? Because I find then you just something comes up and then you're just deeper into debt because you have to pay with your credit card or whatever. What would be your advice?
I think you have to have a contingency plan if something goes wrong. So naturally one wants to try and extinguish your debt as quickly as you can. And on the other side, you want to make sure that if a crisis happens, if you're in a car accident or something goes wrong, that you've got a little bit of cash to fall back on, because generally by then you've already extended all your credit terms, and that leaves you in a very vulnerable position.
So Nitesh, I come to you, I'm in debt, I want to save more, I'm living beyond my means. Give me something practical that I can start doing. I would assume putting some money aside is one. How much should I be putting aside? What percentage of my salary? What's a workable amount? And should I just start now, get rid of the debt, and then what? Give me practical examples here.
So I think if we break them up into two parts. The first one is, if you're in excessive debt, we have to understand what kind of debt you have. So if you have many small loans, shorter term loans are usually more expensive. What you have to do is try and pay those shorter term loans off as quickly as possible. And you start by taking them one at a time with the most expensive one first. If you pay off the first one as quickly as possible, you then use that excess cash to pay off the next one. You quickly start eradicating your short term loans, and then you take the saving that you have from the short term loans and you start saving that towards an official savings. Earlier you said people say, should I pay my debt off first or should I save? You should do both. Like I'm saying, more expensive debt, pay it off quickly. Short-term loans are not good and you should pay them off quickly. You'll always have to save for the long term, and you should start as soon as possible to save for the long term. Things like your bond will always be a debt on your balance sheet, but you should save while you have that bond going because you need to continue saving. So you need to find that balance of paying off short-term expensive debt quickly, keeping your long-term debt and obviously trying to pay that off as well, but you'll have long-term debt, but don't wait for your long-term debt because then you'll never start saving.
Can I ask, just in terms of vehicles to save in, I mean, people always talk about an emergency savings account, for example. What kind of account would you recommend, and how many months kind of living expenses do you think you should have ready in case of emergency?
I think on average, the ballpark figure in the industry we always quote is about 3 months of monthly income that you should be saving for towards emergencies. What kind of a fund? Because you're saving for emergencies, there should be funds available on call, and we have, most organizations, banks have call accounts. So that's money that's usually available on call immediately. If you're saving towards a longer term goal, then you could put it on a notice deposit, and those funds are essentially available on between 7 and 32 days notice.
Mm-hmm. Michael, ADDaBIT, what is that? Is that another savings vehicle that maybe we're not familiar with?
Well, ADDaBIT's brand new. We launched a month ago, and really ADDaBIT is all about simple social savings. It's a platform that allows you to create a fund for a beneficiary and then invite your friends and family and people that are close to you and in your network to contribute to whatever the dream fund is. And we see people doing it for, you know, toys like iPads for birthdays. We see people doing it for school, high school expenses, private schooling expenses, as well as university funds. So ADDaBIT really has just closed the gap between the social world and the banking world, and really enabled us to have a tool, or enable us with a tool to go and actually do the saving that we need to do.
So is it like a stokvel?
It is exactly like a stokvel. It's a stokvel on a platform that allows people to contribute to. You can see who's contributed. You can invite additional people to contribute. So it's really, you know, the modern nowadays stokvel that we're hoping will penetrate even that stokvel market, which traditionally in South Africa is relatively non-banked. Not so.
Significant component.
Yeah. So that's what we're hoping, and you know, it's not only for the rich or for the poor. I think it's for everybody.
So how do you get access to this? Is this online?
Yeah, you go to ADDaBIT.com. You register. You can sign in with your Facebook credentials, which is pretty cool. And basically from there you add your kid or whoever you'd like to create a fund for as a beneficiary. Then you add a fund, call it whatever you want, school fees, a new pair of shoes, tennis rackets, and then you just invite your friends to contribute to the fund. They're then able to go and also register and contribute using their debit card, so Visa and MasterCard credit cards. So they go online and do like a normal online transaction. They can contribute 100 Rand or 200 Rand or however much they'd like to your fund, the specific fund. And then once the fund's full, you redeem the fund, and there's multiple ways you can do that. You can either redeem it with some of our retail partners. So let's say it's a toy for your 1-year-old kid, and you want a special Lego. You can go to Polly Potter toy store and redeem the Lego that you'd like from them. Alternatively, you can issue a Visa prepaid card and go and shop at any retailer that stocks the product that you're looking for.
Yeah, so it's a stokvel and a banking disruptor.
Yeah,
no, interesting. I mean, what has the take-up been? Have you seen?
Yeah, we've had an incredible take-up so far, and just coming back to, you know, the kind of people who's coming on. I mean, we had a lady this morning talking to us via our online support. I mean, you know, we're very digital. And she just wanted a fund for her son, and she didn't quite understand that we're a platform and not an institution giving money towards funds. So we're penetrating that end of the market, that people that really know and understand that there's a need and not sure how to do it, all the way to people with, you know, a couple 100,000 Rand university funds that they're saving towards.
Nitesh, I want to come back to you. There are so many products on the line. I mean, Michael's just telling us about one vehicle, ADDaBIT, a tax-free savings account. And the amount of education that's been out there, it seems to be increasing. What is the trend? Are we seeing more and more people coming to you and asking for savings advice and ways to cut costs? Are we reaching the people that we need to reach when it comes to ways in order to be more savvy with their money?
We're definitely seeing a small increase. From a few years ago, we're starting to see people saving more. So as a South African society, we're still in negative territory when you compare savings to overall household income. But we're seeing that increase slowly, so people are definitely starting to save more. What we are seeing is that with with the African Bank situation that's happened, more people are coming to us sooner to say, we want help, we want to get out of the situation we're in, please help us. And through that, we start helping people understand, firstly, how to pay off their debts quickly, but then how do you take that excess money that you have and put it away towards savings? So school fees, for example, we're starting to understand that, or people starting to see that if you save for school fees and you pay that school fees in lump sum annually, you get a saving from the school for paying the bulk amount up front. And if you factor in the fact that you've earned interest on top of the money that you've saved all year, you get a double bonus on that. And that kind of education is starting to permeate through our customer base, where people are starting to see the benefits of saving like that.
So it's small things that we can do. Gentlemen, we'll have to leave it at that for today. And Jana, of course, thank you so much for joining me. A thank you to Nitesh Patel. He's the Head of Customer Financial Solutions at Standard Bank. Michael Griffin, Chief Executive of ADDaBIT, and Finweek Editor Jana Maree.